1164 voters. They presented only 470 names. We chased them up. And instead of correcting all these things, you left it. And things that were not necessary was what you were talking about. What we are seeing now shows that a lot of Ghanaians will not be part of the selection of the government of this country.
But EC declines responsibility for the many missing names. Tonight we will be live across the country and get the perspective of independent observers.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
Story is brought to you by Bond Financial Services, your success, our passion, Belacqua Mineral Water, the new generation mineral water, as well as myjoyonline.com. We are live from the Multi TV studios here, also live on Joy 99.7 FM. Polls have closed and ballot boxes have been put under lock and key until Friday, when the final verdict will be pronounced. Thousands of voters on the EC special voters list, that is security and EC officials, today got the first opportunity to cast their ballots. Most exercised their franchise without incident, but many others came face to face with the shocking realization that their names were missing from the roll. This was a scene at some of the polling centers today.
Which ID card no? Which ID number no correct? Because the ID number is not wrong. Machine is me pick. Machine is me pick. Where am I sending? Yeah. That is how your arrangement of the name is. You go to the market to SI fish and then you follow through the queue. Then when you get there, you check. One and that, then. But here the pressure is here, so you have to exercise patience. You see, now you are encountering a problem. Yes. It is tomorrow. You come to the office. At our office, Electoral Commission. What it means is that now if your name has not been captured here, it means your name should be at your polling station. They say they are meeting. That is it. So what we want to cross-check is that so that we don't go and remove your name again.
Madam, one town only voting day. Can you general one vote to any pack of water?
I've been told I have to go to Bema Hall at Bema Camp to cast my vote because it's been done according to alphabetical order. I really don't think it's a problem, but lack of communication. When it gets to their turn and they realize that their names are not here, they'll be asked to go to Bema Hall to vote.
Well, that was then, but what about now? The polls ended a little under 30 minutes ago. Let's go live now to the Ashanti Regional Capital for a quick update. I'm joined on the line by Kwabena Mprichum, our man on the ground there for us this evening. Kwabena, what's the situation at the centers you have visited? I guess all the centers are closed now?
Yes, most of the centers are closed now, but currently I'm at the Kumasi Central Police Station, the polling station A over here, and some people are still voting. They've just finished. One or two people are still in the queue going to vote. So the ballot boxes have not been sealed, and the agents and the returning officers are trying to sort things out. But largely, things have been peaceful. The issue has been the people who could not find their names. When I came here, I asked the returning officer, what are they going to do to such people? And he says, according to him, they've spoken with the EC officials. The police command has spoken with the EC officials, and they've agreed that those who could not find their names will be stationed around Kumasi so that on Friday they'll be able to cast their ballot. And most of the people I spoke to agree that, well, it's a good thing for them. So long as they can cast their vote, if it's on Friday, then it's good for them. They are going to wait till Friday. Evan.
Mprichum, thank you very much. We will shortly take you to the Bono Ahafo Regional Capital, where some difficulties were reported early this morning. But I'm joined in the studio right now by the Principal Public Relations Officer with the Electoral Commission, Sylvia No. Also joining me in the studio is the Advisory Board member with the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, Sheikh Aremayao. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start with you, Sylvia. Today, a lot of people were saying going into this special voting, the machines were going to probably break down. We've heard the EC chairman say no machine, no vote. People were scared, but we have not heard any incidents of a breakdown in machines. How did you pull that off?
Thank you. And thank you for starting on that note, because we indicated earlier on that those were speculations, that the machine was going to work up to a certain time and stop working. We said we had tested the machines during the mock, and therefore it would be difficult to have a breakdown. Now, even so, we said that we're going to get backups, so there was no cause for alarm. Now, true to our word, truly, you know, I went around some of the centers and none of the machines froze, none of the machines broke down. And the machine operates on AA batteries. It doesn't use electricity to power. You know, so it is pleasing to note, and then it is okay when we do something right and you tell us. We not only look at the petty negative and then blow them out of proportion. You are talking about the positive, and I think it's good for democracy.
That's a huge positive indeed, and I'll get the perspective of Sheikh on that particular subject shortly, because they've also sent hundreds indeed of observers across the country. But I'm sure you also heard about the concerns from those who are worried they did not find their names. I've heard you say earlier that you cannot exclusively blame the EC for what happened today with the names missing. Why so?
Yes, this is so because I delved deep into the matter. No, not all. You know, there are various ways of finding out issues. So I went to some of them. No, at Osu polling station. Now, I asked a gentleman, where did you register? He said, in the Eastern region. So why are you here to cast your vote? Said, they requested for our name, so I gave my name out and thought that I could come here. And then I said, no, it doesn't work that way. You can't register in Bumpugu Yoyo, for instance, and then vote at Tema West. It doesn't work that way. We have the registers, you know, but each contains both the names of voters in the constituency. Therefore, you cannot cross all the way from the north and come to the south. Even within Accra, you cannot cross from one constituency to the other because it is wrong. So that the gentleman realized that, oh, what I was saying was true. Apart from that, we also realized that some of them gave even old ID numbers, you know, when they were applying for the early or special voting. Now, how are you going to deal with old voter ID numbers and then numbers that are not up to the 10 digits? It was difficult. Then some only gave names, you know, and time factor. You know, you cannot give wrong information, and it will be difficult chasing you because there are so many. Now, I saw something like you spoke about hundreds of, you know, straight away, somebody has already calculated. I think that we should be careful when we are making generalizations. You cannot talk about hundreds of people. You know,
how many do you reckon?
Definitely, let's look at the situation. Let's get you the right information, and then you can talk and narrow down to the actual figure involved. You realize that there were not many. There were not too many compared to the number of people, for instance, I found in Kajad.
But some may also say that certainly there are those who, by no fault of theirs, or maybe the institution, the police administration's fault, that possibly their names indeed are not in the register, although they've done the right thing. There may be those like that.
Maybe. I would want to talk on facts. That is what I know. Okay. Now, there may, you know, be some cases of maybe miscommunication or something, but we need to research. This is about elections.
I don't want to pause you, but the man who has been doing a lot of the monitoring is also with us here in the studio. That's Sheikh Karim Ayal. He's the advisory board member for the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. What has been your observation on the ground today?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that we are dealing with a new system. So, first of all, I think I want to tell the public to be tolerant of some of the little hitches that are associated with every new system. And I think the advantage of what has happened today is that it has opened our eyes, and then the EC will become even more alert now to look at areas where there could be some hitches, especially on the actual voting day on the 7th of December. But we have received similar reports as has been reported on other media.
As in missing names. And
yeah, I mean, some of the security personnel.
But I'm sure you also receive reports about the machine basically working and not breaking down. Have you picked up any signals contrary to that?
Tumu in the Sisala is somewhere, I mean, the intermittent breakdown of the machines. But that does not scare us because, like she said, because earlier on we have been assured of backups that will rectify some of these things as they occur, because we are very, very conscious of the fact that the machine is sensitive to weather changes, and so therefore some of the backups have been there. And technicians have also been trained to be able to address this as and when they come up. So we are confident that these are some of the initial hitches that come with new systems as they unfold. But surely I think that by the 7th of December, probably some of these things will be.
I'm wondering how realistic that might be, because for those today who did not find their names, what is the possibility that they might vote again? What is the procedure for them?
It is pleasing to know that if your name is not in the early voters register, then of course it means that your name is in the original voters list. Therefore, come 7 December, you could exercise your franchise.
That's where you registered.
Yes,
you
exactly
can go to where you registered. But the challenge for them is maybe on that day they'll be assigned, and so they might be disenfranchised because
it's a matter of strategizing to know what you have to do. You know, if the commission will come out with a statement on the issue, so I don't want to preempt. But it is pleasing to know that no voter, the Electoral Commission will not disenfranchise any voter.
That should give you some pleasure, hearing that there's going to be a statement, nobody's going to be disenfranchised. But as far as going into Friday is concerned, are you confident that the EC is ready to give us, a certain conduct of the poll that all the parties will be pleased with?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are confident, given since the end of the BVR exercise, which was completely done, and we sent a report in the public that we were satisfied with the report. And once people have been registered, then by law they also qualify now to vote. And we are aware of the preparations that the EC has put in place.
Satisfied with that?
Yeah, we are satisfied. Like the distribution of the ballot papers put under the eagle eyes of the security service, the police to be specific. We are sure that they have engaged in serious training of their technicians and how to manage the new equipment. And we are so close with the EC and monitoring and following how far they are training their people. So we don't want to sound pessimistic about what the EC would be able to do. We just want to encourage the EC to go ahead, be firm and fair in the way that they want to conduct their work. Now they should take advantage of these little hitches that has characterized the initial unfolding of the elections, so that areas where they think that needs straightening, they should be able to.
Madam, I'm not ready for Friday?
Yes.
You're ready. Now, the Friday scenario is different from this one, because you vote where you're going to cast your vote at the polling station where you did your registration. So it's simple and straightforward. Now, if you're in doubt, just test your 10-digit number, voter ID number, to 1413.
1413?
Yes, and then you would, it will indicate where you have to go and cast your vote. Now, you haven't touched on one thing, and it is pleasing to know that by 3-something, some of the stations had ended voting.
Today?
Yes.
Is it because the system is quicker?
I'm telling you, it is quicker. It is an improvement on the past.
But isn't it because maybe there was no pressure compared to 7 December when thousands would be in the queue for one polling center, for example?
Thousands will not be in the queue. We have averagely about 650 registered per polling center. Now, for what is, we have a little over 1,000 at 3,000 polling centers out of the 26,002 polling stations across the country.
I see.
So, believe you me, by 4 or 5, if voters troop in early, join the queue orderly, the verification machine, the process of checking, dipping the finger in the indelible, and the processes involved is quick.
Let's go live now to the Bono Ahafo region. I'm joined by Kuku Aban, our reporter there. Early in the morning, again, we had the same reports that the Kodeo had from there about missing MS Sectera. Polling indeed has ended in the Bono Ahafo region. Kuku, what can you report?
Evans, actually, polling hasn't ended. They are still queuing up to cast their votes. Earlier, there was near pandemonium here, officers shoving and pushing each other, because they were complaining that the queue was moving at a snail's pace, and they couldn't fathom why the process is like that. And it was due to the single nature of the queue. So there were a lot of screaming, a lot of shoving of among officers actually, until queue was split into two before the process started moving smoothly again.
Do we know quickly where specifically is this, and do we know why people are still in the queue at this time?
I'm actually at the moment at the regional headquarters, the regional police headquarters here in Upper Region. And the reason why the queue was moving pretty slow was that there was a single queue, which is taking about 1,132 registered early voters here. So that single queue caused that delay. And so the officers were complaining, everybody was screaming, shoving and pushing each other until the EC decided to split the queue into two, where they have one center on the left and another center on the right. So now they are casting their ballot. There are about 500 or so persons still queuing up to try and cast their ballot. The last time I checked, that's about 15 minutes ago, 618 persons, representing some 54.5% out of the 1,132 registered voters, had cast their ballot here. So as I speak with you, Evans, there are still persons in the queue voting. 50 persons cannot find their names in the register, and they are pretty livid by that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kuku Aban. And quickly, I want to ask, what lessons have we learned today? What were the challenges? How are we improving on them for Friday?
For instance, at the Osu police station, the voters numbered a little over 700. Straight away, there was a split. The station was split into two. So one was his, one was, and I just talked to you about it. By 3 something, about 4, there were only about 10 of them in the queue. So it tells you that when you see a number that is high, just split it into two. I don't know, but generally when you have a successful, story to tell, you might find 1 or 2 that are not too pleasant. But it is pleasing to know that ultimately they would be given the opportunity to cast their ballots.
Sheikh, your final words as we wrap up?
I think that the EC could quickly then look at what is happening now, give directives where necessary as quickly as possible, that if those who are in charge find that the queue is too long, as quickly as possible before it results into any pandemonium, because the smoothness for us, the smoothness of the process is key to the credibility of the whole process, and we should do everything that will ensure that we have a...
And Sylvia, I want to wrap up on this.
Let me say that already, all those stations that I said earlier on, that those who have more than 1,000, they've been split into two. Okay. It's we only have about 3,000 of the polling stations that are on their own. But even that, when the situation is such that it should be split into two, definitely the Electoral Commission is proactive and will do that.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, Principal Public Relations Officer with the Electoral Commission. Also with me in the studio, it's Sheikh Abremaya, who is an advisory board member with the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. This has been Top Story. It's brought to you by Bond Financial Services, your success, our passion, Belacra Mineral Water, the new generation mineral water. But you want to stay with us in 15 minutes or so on Newsnight. We'll be getting the perspective of the political parties, key stakeholders, on how they've seen today progress so far. Stay with us for that. But starting right now is Reporter's Angle.